Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is a recording of Chapter 5. Chapter 5 talks about electronic commerce, doing business over the internet. And we will see different types of businesses, different types of business models that emerged as a result of the internet, the introduction of the internet, and how the internet is re-innovating the business altogether, the business models. So what are the different strategies that we are seeing in the new economy? So we have seen in the last few years the emergence of several new models. The first of them was like Amazon and eBay. How Amazon was, you don't have a store called Amazon. You don't have in reality a store called Amazon. You have a site, a website, and they are selling products that they do not produce. Originally, before the internet, a vendor, someone who sells his own products or is selling products for different manufacturers. There is a store. Now we have an internet store, but we don't have an actual brick and mortar. We don't have an actual building or a store, a physical store. We have a virtual store. So that was one of the first things that we saw with the introduction of the internet. The second thing is we also have users or people selling to each other. eBay is one example. If you have anything you want to sell, you post a picture on eBay and you send. They give you even an email address. So it's not your email address, your regular email address. There is an eBay email address, and they send, whoever is interested will let you know that they want to sell it, to buy your product. So that was a second thing that we have seen. And then we saw something like Uber, the social sharing. Now, normal people, they don't have to be actual drivers. If they have a time and they want to provide their services to others, they can get money out of it. Like Uber, like the one for the hotels where you can rent a house for rent someone else's house for a period of time. So if I ask how many of you are buying products from the internet, how many of you are buying products from the internet? So, let's say 75%. Last semester, when I asked the same question, everybody said at least once in their lifetime, they have bought something from the internet. When I say how many are selling products, how many are selling products here? Anyone sold anything over the internet? Last semester, it was just 10%. When I asked the same question in the US, it was everybody, 100% have sold something. I mean, they bought something, they didn't like it, wore it even twice and said, okay, I'm going to sell it. I don't want it anymore. Or buy something, didn't even open it, or got a gift from someone, didn't like it, so they posted on eBay. So these are the two models we talked about. Is there anything, other types of businesses that we see today that are also considered e-business or e-commerce, but you are not buying from someone else and you are not buying from a store? Yes, we also have the emergence of e-government. So e-government is providing the government services over the internet. You want to apply for a passport? You can apply it over the internet. You can fill in an application and then mail the application to the government without having to go to the office or anything. You want to here you don't have any taxes, but in the United States, the 15th of April is very well known. 15 إبريل كل حد لازم to file their taxes. Again, you don't have to go to any office. You don't have to mail. You can just fill in the application over the internet. So that's what we call e-government. So the introduction of e-commerce. E-commerce is possible because of information technology. If it was not the networking, if it was not the creation of the internet, we would not have e-commerce. So the e-commerce is providing either goods or services to individuals over the internet, through the internet. When you are selling products, when you are selling your services, providing services all over the internet, that is considered e-commerce. We have seen that also the internet has strengthened the relationship with the customer. We have a strong relationship now with the customer. People may think, wouldn't face-to-face be better? So if I am contacting a customer, or communicating with the customer face-to-face, wouldn't I create a stronger relationship? We build a stronger relationship with the customer because now the customer is able to communicate with the store through several channels. They can, of course, send the email. They can use Twitter. They can use Facebook. But also companies realize the power of the customer, that the customer can help create a better product. So, for example, there are companies that ask the customer to create a product that does not exist. So, for example, Levi's, the jeans company, you know Levi's? So now customers can design their own products, again, through the internet. A website, you can create your own clothes. You design it, and they will create it for you. But you have the ability to design it. There are automobile companies that allow you, again, to customize your own car. So you want a car certain color, you want a specific color for the glass, you want whatever you want. They allow you to specify what the characteristics of the product. We also say that you build strong relationship with suppliers because now we have systems. Remember when we talked about the supply chain management in chapter 2? We said this is a system that helps us reduce inventory. So now the supplier can see what am I selling. They can see what products are not sold. So they stop producing it. They don't want to give you products and then having to take it back because you didn't sell it. They can see right away what you are not selling, what your customers want. And that strong relationship, again, is possible because of the internet, because of technology. Now, we also have web services. This is partnering with other vendors in order to create a complete service. Think about tourism. How many different companies are involved in tourism? We have airlines, right? We have hotels, we have car rental, and we have tours, kind of that give you tours inside of a city. So let's say you want to go to Paris this summer. You have to book your air flight, right? You have to reserve a hotel. You have to rent a car if you want to have a car to go around. And if you are going, let's say you want to have a dinner by boat, for example, in the river, then you have to reserve the dinners and all the outing. You want to go to a theater, you want to go watch a certain show. So all of these are different services provided by different companies, right? They have created sites where everything is provided on one site. And they call that web services. So the web services is known to be services provided over the internet by different vendors. It's not just one vendor, different vendors. But it makes it easy for the customer. So you have to understand that e-commerce is still commerce. It is providing goods and services over the internet. Okay? So, let's say it is free. The good or service is free. Would it be still e-commerce? Yes. As long as you're providing any good or service over the internet, whether it is for money or it is free, it is still e-commerce. It says you must have path to profitability. You must know how are you going to get money out of it. So when you do a search on Google, do you pay any money? No. How come Google is profitable? So companies, even when they provide a good or service free, they have to have some way of getting money. They cannot, of course, operate everything free. Yani Google, there is no way that Google would exist or be very profitable if everything is free. No, the advertisement is a source of money for them. And that's why the search engine is free, but advertisement is not. Okay. So you have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, a clear way of getting money, then you will not be able to continue existing over the internet. There are so many companies in the 2000, in year 2000, سنة 2000, so many companies opened over the internet. But only 20% continued. Why? Because others did not have a clear understanding. How am I going to get the money from users, from whoever is visiting my site? So you have to have a clear understanding. You have to have a business plan. How are you going to get money? In order to answer that question, you have to answer three things. Who are your customer targets? Who are you targeting? Who do you want to get money from? The second is your marketing strategy. How are you reaching them? How will they know about you? What will make your products attractive for them? And then you have to look at the back end, what's behind the scene. The users see the website, and the website has a clear marketing strategy, but then what is going at the back end? What kind of operations? From where, how will you manufacture your goods if you are providing goods? From where will you get your goods? How are you going to ship to the customer? A lot of companies, for example, were not successful because they didn't have an understanding about returns over the internet. I bought something, I don't like it, I want to return it. At the beginning, they didn't have any clear operation for the returns. So they understand how to sell, but then the return, they don't have any understanding. People didn't know how am I going to return that product to you? Do I have to ship it on my own expense or what? So again, in order to be profitable over the internet, you have to understand who are your customers, how are you going to sell and make things attractive for them, how are you going to reach them, and what kind of operations you will have to run at the back end, behind the scenes. I think the last one is your income. Of course, if you are not, let's say, you know who are your customers, you know how you are going to reach them, you know what kind of businesses you are going to run behind the scene, but this is not enough. Whatever you will get, the revenue is not enough. Can you continue? No, because the expenses will be very high, and then the income is not enough for you to continue the operations. So you have to make sure, will I have enough to be successful? Will I have enough to be profitable? Okay. Now, which one do you think is less expensive? Running a brick and mortar site, meaning having a brick and mortar, meaning having a building, an actual building, and selling through that store. Would that be more expensive, or selling over the website? Through the website, because a lot of the expenses, the fixed expenses, like the building, the actual fixtures, the furniture, the lighting, and all of that, you don't have to pay for it. Okay. Here are the different types of e-commerce that we see today. Either I am a business, or I am a consumer, or I am a government. So from the very beginning, either I am a business selling to another business, or I am a business selling to consumers like you, or I am a business and I'm selling to government. And then I have the consumer selling to business. We didn't have that before. Now we have it. Consumers selling to other consumers. Consumers selling to government. And then we have government selling to business, government selling to consumers, and government selling to other governments. I need one example for each. One example. I'm going to give you, I'm going to give all three for business. So if I'm a business, let's say I am a supplier of raw material, بورد مواد خام. Who are my consumers? Other businesses. So if I am selling raw material, مواد خام, then my consumers are other businesses. So that's business to business. Let's say now I am a hotel. Can I sell to other businesses? No. Yes, because hotels have businesses have conferences to attend. يعني في مؤتمر عايزين يحضروه فبيحجزوا مجموعة من الأوض يعني يقولوا 20 أوضة 200 أوضة. So business, if I'm a hotel, I can sell to other businesses because businesses attend conferences, so they may reserve a number of rooms. Okay? If I am a hotel, of course, I sell to other consumers. And if I am a hotel, I may also rent to government. A governmental agent coming to a country like Doha, for example, having to attend, again, meetings with government officials. So this is business to consumer, business to government. Now, someone tell me, how can a consumer sell to a business? And what would be a very famous example? Ideas, very good. So you may be a researcher and you have an idea and you patent it. Like you reserve the right to sell it yourself. No one can take that idea. So you can sell it to companies. They will have to pay to use it. Okay? So consumer can sell to other consumers. What would be an example? Like eBay. We have to focus only over the internet, selling to other consumers over the internet. So a consumer selling to other consumer, that's through a website, معروف في أمريكا, eBay. I think you have something here they told me about. I think it is Qatar sale, yeah. Qatar sale, where if you have, for example, a car you want to sell, so again, you are selling to other consumers. And then, can you give me an example of a consumer selling to government? Very good, yes. So if you have a piece of land and the government is interested because they want to turn it, for example, into part of a road, then you would sell to the government. Now, you have to remember that it's only e-commerce if it is done through the internet. So the government having a website that you register your piece of land on. Let's say the government says, I want to sell all land on that road. So everyone interested, please go to the website and register. So that would be e-commerce. Now, the government selling services to other businesses. Like doing taxes is when the government provide that service, filing for taxes. تملي الاستمارة بتاعت التاكسز اللي هي ضرائب على الانترنت، ده يبقى government to business. Okay? Government to consumer, if I am able to apply for a passport, or apply for a visa over the internet, then that's government to consumer. In fact, actually this morning I was filling a request to bring my parents to attend my daughter's graduation. And I did it, I mean, you fill the application over the internet. So that's government to consume. Now, can government sell to other government? All the time, yes. Yes, because think of it, any government, any agency that will have to do something with other agencies, with other governmental agencies. So, for example, if you are Interior, Ministry of Interior, okay, part of you is collecting money, for example, for the violations, the car violations, right? Who else do you have to communicate with? What other ministries do you have to communicate with? Ministry of Finance, because if you collect money, you have to report that to the Ministry of Finance. So that's what. Ministry of the Technology, I think you call it Communication, Ministry of Communication, have the internet underneath it. So if you want to provide any services over the internet, you have to go to the Ministry of Communication. So government can sell to other government. It will go quickly. So business to government, any business that is selling raw material to the government or selling any kind of products, or like Lockheed is a very well-known company in the United States. They make airplanes. They make airplanes like 747. Do they put, is it 747? I think it is. Boeing. So they are a very big company, and they sell to the government. They sell to the Department of Defense, because the Department of Defense have all of these airplanes that they use in war and so on. So the most amount of money that you see today is in actually business to government. The largest amount of money that we see in e-commerce is centered in business to government. People may think it is business to consumers, but that's not the case. The largest volume, so there is a difference between volume and dollar amount. Volume, the number of transactions. If we look at the number of transactions, the largest number of transactions is business to consumers. Businesses selling to consumers. That's the largest number of transactions. لو عدينا عدد العمليات التجارية اللي بتحصل ما بين البيزنس والمستهلك هتلاقيها أكتر عدد عمليات. لكن لو بصينا للقيمة، أعلى قيمة هي ما بين البيزنس والجفرمنت. لأن الكونتراكتس are huge، يعني تلاقيها billions of dollars. So it is. If they give you, for example, a multiple choice question now, asking you, giving you business to business, business to consumers, business to government, which one has the largest amount of money or revenue? It is business to government. Because here a single contract, one contract only is in billions of dollars. Whereas one transaction in the business to business or the business to consumer is not that much. Yeah. Okay, now consumer to government. We see a lot also of artists, people who draw. They can sell these drawings to the government. So any consumer selling to the government, you gave me the example of selling land to the government. You can sell anything that you as a person or as an individual own. So a lot of artists, الناس اللي بيرسموا, they sell pictures, for example, to the government. But this is very small, and a very small amount of revenue is in there. If we look worldwide, how many individuals sell to government, you don't see that much. And the amount, the revenue is very, very small. How about government to business? Do you think large amount of dollars are in government to businesses? Yes, the second largest. Because remember, government's main source of income is coming from there. يعني في بلاد معظم الدخل بتاعها جاي من التاكسز، جاي من الضرائب، والضرائب وطبعا الضرائب على الشركات اعلى بكتير من الضرائب على المستهلك، على الانديفيدوال. فده دخل بلد بحالها. Why did I say the second? The second largest. Now the government selling to businesses, then the other white businesses selling to government. Government selling to businesses, that's just one source of income. We say taxes, for example, they get taxes, they get application fees and so on. But majority, when now you are spending, يعني الحكومة, let me stop. Sometimes again, the government provide a lot of assistance to businesses for low price. And again, the internet allow them to do that. So for example, providing help to small businesses. In the US, they want to, and I would assume also in Qatar, they want to protect the small business. Why? The small business cannot compete with the large business. So if you are, for example, if you're trying to open, a burger stand, for example, you cannot compete with McDonald's. There is no way that you can compete with them. They have less cost. They have more efficient operations. They are worldwide, so you cannot compete with them. The government will protect you. The government will give you years without having to pay taxation or anything. Again, that is possible. The government is able to do that for many others because of internet, because they can reduce the cost for the government. TSA is an agency that provides security in airports, and it is government owned. So you cannot leave it for the private now to do that, because that's the interior security of the country. So now TSA, when you are going through the airport, sometimes they tell you you cannot take water, you cannot take knives, for example. Let's say you have a knife in your pocket or in your carry-on. All of these things they will confiscate, they will take. They don't throw it away. They have an auction at the end of the year to sell it. So again, that's government to businesses. Some businesses go and they buy everything because they know, these are things that they can sell for a much better price than what the government wants to get rid of it. So they sell it to businesses, businesses buy it. Again, the auction, when you go and you say, I'm going to pay for this $10 or 10 Qataris, and others say, I'm going to pay 15. They do that all over the internet. So it's an e-auction. You go and you have a picture of the things, and you provide a price, and someone else is interested, they will put a higher price and so on. Until you reach a point where no one is bidding, so it goes to the highest bidder. So we talked about the government selling to consumers. Consumers can pay their taxes over the internet. They can register their vehicles. They can pay for violations, car violation. You can check if you have one or not. Every month I do that. When I first came to Qatar, I got 2 in the same day. And then after that, alhamdulillah, I didn't get any. And then we have government to government, and we said any agency will have to communicate or do business with other governmental agencies. So And then you also have governments doing business with other governments. Of course, the United States, what is one thing that they sell to other governments? What do they sell? The United States is well known to sell what? What does it sell? Bonds? Yeah, they sell bonds. That's right. So when they want to borrow money from others, they sell bonds. They sell bonds in order to get money. But they are well known to sell weapons. They sell weapons to other countries. Of course, specific countries, they don't sell weapons to countries that they are going into war. They are just for protection. So they selling to Qatar, they're selling to Saudi Arabia, and so on. And then we have businesses selling to other businesses. And you have to remember the e-auction. They sell through auctions. في مزادات، المزاد ده على الانترنت. It is not, you don't go to a store or anything. You go to an auction over the internet and you buy your raw material. Again, huge amount of money, but not as the government. So you have a lot of money in business to business, but not as much as business to government. Now, what kind of system is used to allow for that? That's the supply chain management. And then we also have the e-commerce. Okay. So we'll continue next.